you have survived the storm. You successfully deployed the vagus nerve hacks to stop the meltdown, and you used the reconnection ritual to guide your child out of the silent shutdown. The house is quiet, and the emotional threat is gone. Now comes the most dangerous moment, the conversation. You sit down, your voice calm, ready to discuss the behavior, the broken rule, or the shattered object. You start, "When you threw the toy," or "We need to talk about what happened," and instantly, the peace shatters. Your child either stares at you with a defensive, hostile glare, or they instantly burst into a fresh fit of rage, defiance, and tears. You've just triggered a new crisis, and you don't know why. The agony of this moment is that the parent is trying to teach a lesson, but the child is receiving a biological warning. You are not talking to the rational brain. You are talking to the defensive brain. You are talking to the past. And that past is triggering immediate, intense shame, fear, and a massive biological urge to defend itself. This common conversation technique is not a tool for teaching. It is a guaranteed method for causing rage. In this deep dive guide, the Co-Regulator reveals the science of post-crisis memory retrieval, the major mistake nearly every parent makes, and the simple high-leverage protocol, the chronological shift. This technique moves the conversation out of the painful past and into a cooperative future, unlocking your child's prefrontal cortex and allowing actual learning to happen. The science of shame and memory. Let's understand the neuroscience behind this immediate rage. When a crisis, a meltdown, or a shutdown occurs, the moment is encoded in the brain as a strong emotional memory. This memory is primarily stored and recalled by the amygdala, the brain's emotional fire alarm, and the hippocampus, which handles the explicit details. Because the event was intense and overwhelming, recalling it instantly brings back the feeling of danger and shame. When you start your conversation with, "We need to talk about what you did an hour ago," you force their brain to retrieve that emotional memory. This is not a neutral recall. This is re-triggering the emotional fire alarm. The child's neuroception immediately screams, "Danger! You failed! You are being judged!" The defensive system, sympathetic nervous system, instantly floods the system, causing the rage, the defiance, or the defensive denial. Your calm words are not heard, only the biological threat of the memory is felt. The primary goal of the post-crisis conversation is not to fix the past, it is to build the future. We need to bypass the amygdala's defensive fire alarm and engage the brain's planning center, the prefrontal cortex, PFC. The PFC is responsible for problem-solving, planning, empathy, and making good choices next time. The magic truth of the chronological shift is this. The brain's defensive system is highly active when talking about the shame of the past, but it is much more cooperative when talking about the safety and planning of the future. The Chronological Shift Protocol. The Chronological Shift Protocol is a 4-step process designed to disable the amygdala's memory trigger and activate the prefrontal cortex for cooperation and learning. This protocol is simple, but requires absolute discipline in its execution. Remember to use the low, slow-pitched voice you mastered in the reconnection ritual. Step 1. The emotional check-in, future focus. Do not start the conversation by referring to the incident. Start by establishing emotional safety in the present. This step is about anchoring them in the green zone before you ask them to walk near the emotional red zone. Use a simple, low-pitched check-in that focuses on the present and the future, not the past. Ask questions like, "How do you feel in your body right now?" Or, "Are you hungry? Do you feel safe with me now?" Wait for a true, regulated answer. If they are still defensive or shut down, you must deploy a brief reconnection ritual again. Once they confirm safety, you can proceed. The absolute rule is, never proceed if the answer is not a regulated yes. The time for teaching is when the brain is available for learning. We must move forward in time, not backward. Rotero Limpo, Party 2, Para TTS. We continue with the Chronological Shift Protocol, the powerful technique used by the Co-Regulator to stop post-crisis rage and teach enduring behavior lessons. Step 2. The Future Contract, the Essential Shift. This is the core of the chronological shift. You will not discuss the past event. Instead, you will ask your child to project into the future to solve a problem that hasn't happened yet. This completely bypasses the amygdala's shame trigger, because shame cannot attach itself to a memory that doesn't exist. You are recruiting their prefrontal cortex. Use the magic question. I want to make sure the next time this happens, we have a plan. What do you think our plan should be? Notice the language. The next time this happens normalizes the future failure, no shame. And what do you think our plan should be? Hands the authority, problem-solving, and responsibility directly to the child, PFC activation. This transforms the conversation from a lecture into a cooperative contract. They are now working with you, not against a memory of failure. If they say, "I don't know," gently guide them. If you could use your hands differently next time, what would they do? Always focus on the actionable future. Step 3. The collaborative commitment, the shared solution. Once your child proposes a solution, no matter how simple, you must validate it and formalize it into a shared commitment. This builds ownership. Validate the plan. That is a great idea. Having a plan to ask for space instead of yelling is a huge step. Now, make it shared. Ask, what is my job next time that happens? Should I remind you? Should I step back? This step is vital. It eliminates the victim-aggressor dynamic. You are both co-regulators on the same team, working on the same challenge. Their job is the new behavior. Your job is supporting the plan. Write the plan down if your child is old enough. A visual contract is powerful. The commitment is always to the future plan, never to the past failure. Step 4. The minimal reference, the safe past. Only after the commitment to the future plan is solidified can you make a minimal, quick, and non-judgmental reference to the past incident, but only to confirm the learning. This step is optional and should be done with care. Example. So that plan we just made, asking for space instead of throwing the toy, you think that will work better than what happened with the red block today? The past is only referenced as a data point, not a failure point. Keep this brief. If any defensiveness returns, immediately stop and go back to the future plan. Step 2. The power of the chronological shift. The chronological shift is the most powerful tool in the arsenal of the co-regulator because it respects the child's biology. It is not about avoiding consequences, but about ensuring that learning actually occurs. Punishment or shaming that triggers the amygdala is destructive. Planning that activates the prefrontal cortex is constructive. This technique turns every post-crisis moment into a planning session for resiliency. Your child learns that you are their partner, not their judge, and that mistakes are simply data for the next, better plan. Your success as a co-regulator depends on your ability to use these tools sequentially. You have mastered the in-crisis tools, hacks, and the post-crisis tools, ritual and shift. But there is one more neuroscientific trap that destroys resilience: the internal filter. If you, the parent, are constantly running on high stress, if your vagus nerve is overtaxed, you cannot be a regulated anchor. Your capacity to co-regulate is only as strong as your capacity for self-regulation. We must address the most neglected person in this equation: you. Click on the video on your screen now where I reveal the vagus nerve reset button for parents. Stop absorbing your child's stress, and how to finally regulate your own nervous system, ensuring you can be the calm anchor your family needs.